Princess Lyria gazed through the crystalline viewport of her diplomatic vessel as it approached the blue planet called Earth. The swirling clouds and vast oceans reminded her of ancient paintings in the royal palace of her homeworld. Silva brushed her long silver hair away from her pointed ears and took a deep breath. Her iridescent skin shimmered with anxiety, though she tried to hide it. Verax, her dragon companion, sensed her unease and chirped softly from his perch on her shoulder. In his current form, he resembled a small lizard with scales that shifted colors to match her emotions right now. They glowed a nervous purple. "We must not show weakness, Verax," she whispered. The small dragon nuzzled against her neck in response. The Sylvan Empire had detected human military expansion into their star system 3 cycles ago. The Council of Elders had sent numerous warnings, but the humans continued their advance. Either they were incredibly brave or dangerously foolish. Lyria suspected both. After much debate, the council had decided to send her a princess of royal blood as an envoy of peace. Though everyone understood, this was also a display of power. No other species had ever seen a bonded dragon outside of Sylvan territory. Captain Kira Blake approached and bowed her head. Captain of the Royal Guard and Lyria's most trusted advisor, Kira had insisted on bringing a full complement of warriors, despite the diplomatic nature of their mission. "The humans have sent coordinates for landing, Your Highness. They expect us in one of their military installations called Fort Aurora." Lyria nodded and adjusted her ceremonial armor. The translucent material looked delicate but could withstand energy weapons and projectiles alike. Its design emphasized her alien nature, while the embedded gemstones signified her royal status. "Prepare the delegation," she commanded. "We will show these humans the grace and might of the Sylvan Empire." The landing was smoother than expected. The Earth technology, while primitive compared to Sylvan ships, was clearly well designed. The ramp descended and Lyria took position at its top, Verax growing slightly larger on her shoulder, now the size of a medium canine. His wings unfurled, partially a subtle reminder of his true form. 8. Sylvan guards formed a path before her, their crystalline spears gleaming in the earth sunlight. Kira stood 2 steps behind her, right side hand resting on her ceremonial blade. The human delegation waited at the bottom of the ramp. 5 soldiers in dark uniforms stood in formation behind a woman whose posture immediately caught Lyria's attention. Unlike the stiff formality of the others, this human stood with casual confidence, her uniform bearing more insignia than the others but lacking the excessive ornamentation Lyria would expect from a human leader. Princess Lyria of the Sylvan Empire approached with measured steps, her movements graceful and deliberate, as she'd been taught since childhood. The subtle glow of her skin intensified in the daylight, creating the illusion that she floated rather than walked. The human woman stepped forward, and Lyria was struck by her appearance. Human military records had prepared her for their physical characteristics, but seeing one up close was different. This woman had rich brown skin and dark hair pulled back tightly, her eyes a surprising amber color that reminded Lyria of Sylvan sunset. She was tall for a human, matching Lyria's height, and her muscular build suggested considerable strength. "Sergeant Maya Walsh, United Earth Defense Force," the woman said without bowing. "I will be your liaison during your stay on Earth." Lyria had expected groveling or at least a formal greeting. The human's directness was shocking. No species had ever addressed Sylvan royalty so casually. Maya Walsh showed no signs of intimidation. Her gaze steady and evaluating. "I am Princess Lyria, 3rd daughter of Emperor Thalion, keeper of the sacred flame and bonded companion to Verax of the Crimson lineage," Lyria announced, allowing a hint of power to enter her voice. "We bring greetings from the Sylvan Empire." Verax chose this moment to unfurl his wings fully and emit a small burst of flame. His body grew to the size of a large earth wolf, the transformation causing gasps among the human soldiers behind Maya. The sergeant, however, didn't flinch. "Nice trick," she said with what appeared to be genuine interest. "Is it some kind of biotech or genetically engineered?" Lyria struggled to maintain her composure. Verax was no trick but a sacred bond passed through royal bloodlines for thousands of years. This human's casual dismissal of such magnificence was infuriating. Verax is a draconic symbiote, she explained with practiced patience. He represents the might and wisdom of our people. Our bond is sacred among my kind. Maya nodded and then did something completely unexpected. She stepped forward and extended her hand toward Verax. The royal guards tensed immediately, their weapons lifting slightly. Kira moved her hand to her blade. The princess felt panic rise within her. No outsider had ever touched a bonded dragon. It was forbidden, even among most Sylvans. She opened her mouth to object, but froze when Verax leapt from her shoulder toward the human. Centuries of tradition shattered in an instant. Instead of attacking as the guards clearly expected, Verax landed on Maya's outstretched arm. His scales shifted from royal purple to a curious blue as he examined the human up close. Maya smiled, a genuine expression that transformed her serious face. She ran one finger gently along Verax's crest. "As beautiful," she said with what sounded like sincere admiration. "What does the bond feel like?" Lyria stood speechless. Her connection with Verax allowed her to feel his emotions, and his curiosity about this human intrigued her. Was it possible this Maya Walsh had some hidden quality that attracted the dragon? Verax had always been an excellent judge of character. Perhaps he sensed something in this human that she could not. Captain Kira broke the silence. "We have traveled far and would appreciate being shown to our quarters. The princess requires time to prepare for the formal negotiations." Maya nodded and gently returned Verax to Lyria. The dragon seemed reluctant to leave the human, which only increased Lyria's confusion. "Of course, follow me. The general is eager to meet with you tomorrow morning." Sergeant Maya gestured toward a nearby structure. "We have prepared special accommodations for your delegation based on the specifications your advance team provided," as they walked toward the building. Lyria noticed Maya studying Verax with scientific interest, rather than fear or awe. It was not the reaction she had expected from humans who, according to Sylvan intelligence, were a superstitious and easily frightened species. Perhaps their reports were outdated, or perhaps this Maya was unusual among her kind. The human military base was a stark contrast to the organic architecture of Sylva metal, and concrete dominated where Lyria was accustomed to crystal and living structures. The soldiers they passed stopped to stare at the Sylvan delegation, particularly at Lyria and Verax. Their quarters were acceptable if plain. A large central chamber, for meetings surrounded by private rooms for each member of the delegation. The humans had attempted to recreate Sylvan aesthetics with limited success. Once alone with Kira and Verax, Lyria allowed her royal mask to slip. That human, the sergeant, she spoke to Verax as an equal. She said, pacing the room. "What kind of soldier shows no fear before a dragon?" Kira frowned. "These humans are not what we expected, Your Highness. Perhaps we underestimated them." Verax chirped and projected his thoughts to Lyria, an ability only she could perceive. "The human female has a strong spirit. She reminds me of you when you were younger." Lyria shot him an annoyed glance. "I am nothing like that primitive creature." The dragon made a sound suspiciously like laughter. A communication device on the wall chimed, and Maya's voice emerged. "Princess Lyria, you have an incoming transmission from your ship marked urgent. Would you like me to have it sent to your quarters?" Before Lyria could respond, the door slid open, and a Sylvan messenger rushed in, bowing deeply. "Your Highness, urgent news from home." The messenger handed her a crystal data shard. Lyria placed it in the reader she had brought from the ship. As the encrypted message appeared, her heart sank. Human soldiers had captured Sylvan scouts near their homeworld. The scouts had been on a classified mission, one she had not been briefed about. The war she had come to prevent might have already begun. She looked at Verax, whose scales had darkened to a deep crimson, reflecting her. "Alarm find Sergeant Walsh," she ordered Kira. "Tell her we need to move tomorrow's meeting forward. We have much to discuss." Kira left. Lyria stared out the window at the Earth landscape, so alien yet somehow familiar. Verax crawled into her lap, growing larger as she stroked his scales. "These humans are dangerous," she whispered to him. "And that Maya Walsh may be the most dangerous of all." Verax purred in agreement. But Lyria sensed something else in his response, something that felt strangely like anticipation. 3 weeks had passed since the Sylvan delegation arrived on Earth. Princess Lyria sat in her quarters reviewing transcripts from the latest negotiation session. Something felt wrong. The humans knew far too much about Sylvan technology, they asked. Questions that revealed knowledge they should not possess. Knowledge that went beyond simple observation or study. Verax sprawled across her lap, his size adjusted to that of a large feline. His scales shifted between thoughtful blue and suspicious, amber reflecting Lyria's conflicted emotions. Someone is feeding them information, she whispered to her dragon companion. Verax rumbled in agreement. A soft chime announced a visitor. Lyria waved her hand over the sensor and the door slid open. Sergeant. Maya Walsh stood in the hallway, her uniform crisp and her posture relaxed as always. The princess has requested my presence, Maya said with that directness that still unsettled Lyria. Enter Sergeant Lyria, gestured to a chair designed for human physiology. Over the weeks, Maya had become a constant presence. Often she was the first human Lyria saw each morning and the last she spoke with each night. Despite her initial reservations, Lyria had grown to appreciate Maya's forthright manner. No diplomatic, double talk or excessive formality, just clear communication. Maya sat down and studied the princess with those intelligent amber eyes. That was another thing that bothered Lyria, the way Maya observed everything with such careful attention missing. Nothing. You look troubled, Maya said. Is the accommodation still not suitable? Lyria waved her hand dismissively. The quarters are adequate. That is not my concern. Maya waited silently. Another trait. Lyria had noticed humans usually rush to fill silence, but Maya seemed comfortable with it. This human was unusual in many ways. In yesterday's session, General Rivers asked about our quantum entanglement communications. Lyria said, carefully watching Maya's reaction. How would Earth forces know? Such technology exists. We have never used it within your detection range. Maya considered this for a moment, then leaned forward. Her voice lowered. Though I risk much by telling you this, I believe you should know. Earth intelligence has intercepted communications from your homeworld. Impossible. Lyria scoffed. Our communications are undetectable by your technology. Are you certain? Maya asked. All of them. Lyria fell silent. Her own father had assured her that all diplomatic channels were secure. But what of military communications? What of the messages sent by the Council of Elders? We have reason to believe the Sylvan royal family is divided, Maya continued. Some want peace, some want conquest. Some believe humans will grow too powerful if not contained now. The words struck Lyria like physical blows. How could this human know of the private debates within the council unless someone in her delegation was reporting back not just to her father, but to the war faction of the council? The realization chilled her. What else do you know? She asked. Verax, sensing her distress, grew slightly larger, his tail wrapping protectively around her wrist. Maya hesitated. I am not authorized to share classified intelligence. Then why tell me any of this? Lyria demanded. The human sighed, and for the first time Lyria saw weariness in her face. I believe in diplomacy, princess. I believe we can avoid a war that would devastate both our species, but we cannot negotiate in good faith if one side is planning an attack regardless of the outcome. Lyria stood and paced the room, her iridescent skin flashing with emotion. She had been sent as a gesture of peace. But what if that was merely a distraction? What if her father had already decided on war? Maya watched her with an expression Lyria could not quite interpret. Was it sympathy, understanding, calculation? Why should I trust you? Lyria finally asked. You could be manipulating me, feeding me false information to turn me against my own people. Maya stood and stepped closer. I could be. But consider this. If I wanted to manipulate you, I would tell you what you want to hear, not uncomfortable truths. Their eyes met, and something passed between them, a moment of connection that transcended their different species. Lyria was suddenly aware of how close they stood, how Maya smelled of something earthy and pleasant, how her presence had become strangely comforting. Amidst the stress of the negotiations, Verax chirped, breaking the moment. He had grown fond of Maya, often seeking her out when Lyria was busy with official duties. The human had a way with the dragon, teaching him earth games and telling him stories that, too, was unprecedented. A dragon bonded to a royal sylvan, showing such interest in an outsider. Before Lyria could respond, the entire building shook. A distant alarm began to wail. Maya's communication device buzzed. She listened, then looked at Lyria with concern. A sylvan warship has just entered Earth orbit. She said no warning, no communication. Lyria felt her heart's race. This was not part of the diplomatic mission. She had no knowledge of military vessels being dispatched. Captain Kira burst into the room, her hand on her weapon. Your Highness, we must return to our ship immediately. The Earth forces are mobilizing. Maya stepped between them. Wait. This could be a misunderstanding. We need to communicate. Another tremor shook the building, stronger this time. That's not from weapons fire, Maya said. Looking up, something else is happening. Lyria closed her eyes and focused on her bond with Verax. Through him, she could sometimes sense things beyond normal perception. What she felt now sent fear coursing through her. It's not just the warship, she whispered. Something is following it. Something hidden. Maya made a quick decision. Princess, I need you to come with me now, without your guards. She glanced at Kira. I mean, no disrespect, Captain, but I have orders to bring the princess to a secure location if hostilities commence. Kira drew her weapon. This is an abduction. Verax suddenly grew to his combat size, his wings unfurling partially in the confined space. He positioned himself between Maya and Kira, his scales blazing red. No, Lyria commanded, stepping forward. I will go with Sergeant Walsh. She gazed at her captain. I must know what the humans know. If war is coming, I need all available information. Kira looked stunned, but lowered her weapon. As you command, Your Highness. But I will follow at a distance. Maya nodded and led Lyria through a side door into a corridor Lyria had never seen before. They moved quickly, passing human soldiers rushing in the opposite direction. Verax kept pace, his size now reduced to maintain mobility. They entered a small room filled with screens and communication equipment. A human woman sat at one of the stations, her fingers moving rapidly over controls. Lieutenant Cooper, status report. Maya barked. The woman responded without looking up. Sylvan warship holding position, outside weapons range. Second anomaly confirmed behind Earth's moon energy signature, massive but inconsistent with known Sylvan technology. Maya turned to Lyria. I need you to see something. She activated a screen showing intercepted communications. Some were in Sylvan language, others in codes Lyria recognized as military encryption. There, the human pointed at one particular transmission. This was sent from within your delegation 3 days ago. Lyria read the message and felt her blood freeze. It detailed the weaknesses in Earth defenses, information she herself had observed but never reported. Who could have? She looked at the signature code and recognized it immediately. It came from my ship, she whispered. But this authorization code belongs to Maya, finished her thought. Your father, the Emperor himself. Lyria stared at the human, disbelief and anger warring within her. You lie. This is fabrication. In response, Maya pulled up more communications spanning the past year, long before Lyria's arrival. They showed a systematic plan for invasion disguised as a diplomatic mission. While Lyria processed this shocking information, Verax suddenly stiffened, his entire body going rigid. His scales paled to an almost white color. Something Lyria had never seen before. What's wrong with him? Maya asked, reaching toward the dragon. Verax turned to Lyria, his eyes wide with what could only be described as fear. He projected a thought so powerful that Lyria gasped aloud. Others they come. Others, like me but wrong-twisted. They call to me impossible. Lyria whispered. All draconic entities are accounted for. All are bonded to Sylvan royalty. It has been this way for millennia. Maya watched this exchange with confusion, clearly unable to hear. Verax's projected thoughts. Lyria looked at the human woman who had somehow become central to whatever conspiracy was unfolding. "I need access to your long-range sensors," she demanded. "There is something else approaching. Something my people may have, created long ago, something even my father fears." As Maya moved to comply, the building shook again more violently. This time Lyria knew it was weapons fire. The war had begun, but she suddenly suspected neither humans nor Sylvans truly understood what they were fighting or why. Chaos erupted throughout the Earth military base as sirens wailed and soldiers rushed to defensive positions. Princess Lyria stood in the secure command room, watching the monitors with growing horror. The Sylvan warship had launched smaller vessels toward Earth. While human defense systems activated in response, Maya worked furiously at a communications terminal, speaking rapidly to her superiors. Her voice remained calm, but Lyria could see tension in her shoulders. "We need to evacuate you to a secure facility," Maya said, turning to Lyria. "Whatever is happening, we can't keep you here." Verax growled, his scales shifting between alarming patterns of red and black. The dragon had grown agitated since sensing the mysterious presence beyond the moon. Lyria placed a hand on Verax's head, trying to calm him through their bond. "I will not run," she declared. "I was sent as a diplomat, and I will remain one even if my father had other plans." Maya studied her for a moment, then nodded. "Lieutenant Bennett," she called. A tall human female with short blonde hair approached her uniform bearing combat insignia. "Yes, Sergeant, assemble. A small team. We need to move the princess to Site Omega. Include Rodriguez for communications and Brooks for technical support. No one else. This operation is classified above standard protocols." Lieutenant Bennett raised an eyebrow but didn't question the order. She moved away, speaking quietly into her communication device. Lyria stepped closer to Maya, keeping her voice low. "Your superiors, they approved this." Maya met her gaze directly. "I haven't told them yet." The admission surprised Lyria. Why would this human risk her career, possibly even face charges of treason to help an alien princess whose people might be attacking? Earth, before she could ask, another explosion rocked the building closer this time. The power flickered. "We need to move now," Maya said, grabbing a weapon from a nearby locker. She handed another to Lyria. "Do you know how to use this?" Lyria examined the human weapon, primitive compared to Sylvan technology, but she understood the basic principles. All royal children received combat training. "I can manage," she said. Lieutenant Bennett returned with two other humans, a dark-skinned woman with tightly braided hair and a younger pale-skinned woman with glasses. They both carried equipment packs and weapons. "Princess Lyria. This is Communications Specialist Kelly Rodriguez and Technical Officer Samantha Brooks." Maya introduced them. "We move in 5 minutes. Pack only what you absolutely need." Rodriguez approached Lyria with a small device. "Your Highness, we need to disable any tracking technology in your clothing or accessories." Standard protocol. Lyria hesitated, then removed her royal circlet and communication bracelet. "These contain locator beacons," she admitted. Rodriguez took them carefully and placed them in a shielded container. Another explosion much closer. The building shuddered and dust fell from the ceiling. Maya checked her weapon. "They're targeting this section specifically." "Someone told them exactly where you are," Captain Kira. Lyria thought with a stab of pain. Had her most trusted advisor betrayed her, or was Kira simply following the Emperor's orders? They moved through the corridors, avoiding the main hallways. Maya led, with Bennett taking the rear. Rodriguez and Brooks flanked Lyria, while Verax remained close, his senses alert for danger. They reached a maintenance area and descended a ladder into a tunnel system beneath the base. "These access tunnels connect to an old bunker from earlier wars," Maya explained as they moved through the dimly lit passage. "Earth governments built many such facilities during our Cold War era." They walked for what seemed like hours through the winding tunnels, occasionally changing direction based on Maya's instructions. Finally, they reached a heavy metal door with an electronic lock. Bennett approached and entered a complex code. The door slid open, revealing a small facility with basics, living quarters and equipment. Once inside, Brooks activated a series of systems, bringing the bunker to full power. "Welcome to Site Omega." Maya said, "This facility is off the official records. known only to select personnel. Lyria looked around at the primitive but functional space. The humans had prepared well for emergencies. Rodriguez set up communications equipment while Brooks began working on a computer system. First priority is understanding what we're facing, Maya said. Princess, I need you to tell us everything you know about that second ship. The one Verax sensed. Lyria hesitated, centuries of Sylvan secrecy warring with her need for allies. I know nothing for certain, she finally admitted. The draconic entities like Verax they were, created by ancient Sylvans as weapons initially. Each royal family member bonds with one at birth, forming a lifelong connection. All such entities are accounted for. All are registered and monitored. There should not be others. Maya frowned. Then how did Verax sense them? Before Lyria could respond, Rodriguez called out, Sergeant, I have something. They gathered around her communications display. A transmission had been intercepted, not from the Sylvan warship, but from somewhere in Earth orbit. The message was encoded, but parts had been decrypted. Phase 1 complete. Read the partial message. Sylvan asset deployed. Human defenses targeting royal vessel as predicted. Begin Phase 2. Activation of the sleeping. The message ended there, the rest still. Encrypted. Brooks looked up from her computer. The transmission originated from a small satellite we believed was inactive. It was launched 3 years ago by a private corporation called Nexus Dynamics. Maya turned to Lyria. Does that name mean anything? To you? Lyria shook her head, but Verax suddenly perked up, projecting an image into her mind. A laboratory. A symbol that looked like a modified version of both human and Sylvan, writing combined. He knows something, Lyria said, looking at her dragon companion. Show them. Verax hesitated, then grew larger, his form shifting until he stood nearly as tall as a human. His scales glowed and projected a holographic image onto the wall, a facility with both human and Sylvan technology. The same symbol Brooks had mentioned. This is impossible, Lyria whispered. The genetic coding to create such images is restricted to royal dragons. Where did you see this? Verax. The dragon projected another thought to her, more fragmented this time. Images of stars. A journey. Ancient. Memories not his own. Ancestral memory, Maya asked, watching the exchange closely. Some animals on Earth retain genetic memories passed down through generations. Lyria looked at her in surprise. How did you know? Maya shrugged. Your expression, it seemed like you were seeing something through him rather than him simply telling you something. Their eyes met, and Lyria felt that strange connection again. This human understood things about her own bond that many Sylvans did not. Lieutenant Bennett, who had been monitoring security sensors, interrupted. 2 aircraft approaching fast, unmarked. Everyone tensed. Maya grabbed her weapon. They found us already. No, Rodriguez said, checking her instruments. These aren't military aircraft. Design is neither human nor Sylvan standard. A new holographic image appeared on Brooks' display, showing the approaching vessels. Their design was strange, a hybrid of technologies. Those ships have both human and Sylvan design elements, Brooks said, looking bewildered. How is that possible? Lyria suddenly understood the pieces falling into place. The third faction. Maya, we need to leave now. Too late. Bennett said, they're landing outside. Maya made a quick decision. We split up. Bennett, Rodriguez, take the princess through the emergency exit tunnel, head for the secondary site. Brooks, you're with me. Well, create a diversion, Verax growled loudly, refusing to leave Lyria's side. The dragon stays with the princess, Maya amended. Now move, as Bennett led Lyria toward a hidden door. At the back of the bunker, the main entrance exploded inward. The force knocked them all to the ground. Through the smoke and debris stepped 4 figures. 2 appeared human. 2 appeared Sylvan, but all moved with an unnatural synchronization. Their eyes glowed with an inner light that Lyria recognized with horror. Merged ones, she gasped. Ancient abominations. The intruders raised weapons. Maya fired first, hitting one of the Sylvan-like figures. It stumbled, but didn't fall. Brooks and Rodriguez joined. the fight while Bennett pulled Lyria toward the escape route. One of the human-looking intruders spoke, its voice oddly modulated. "Princess Lyria, you will come with us. Your father has been deposed. The true ascension begins," Maya shouted over the weapons. "Fire, don't listen to them." Lyria Run Verax suddenly transformed, growing exponentially larger. His wings unfurled, scraping the ceiling, his tail whipping dangerously. His true form was magnificent and terrifying scales, hardening into armor jaws, elongating. To reveal razor teeth, fire gathered in his throat. The intruders faltered momentarily, surprised by the dragon's transformation. Verax released a stream of blue flame, forcing them back. Lyria reached the hidden door with Bennett, but turned back unwilling. To leave the others, Maya caught her eye across the room, an unspoken communication passing between them. The human nodded once, then returned to the fight, buying them time. Bennett pulled Lyria into the escape tunnel as Verax reluctantly followed, keeping his body between Lyria and danger. They heard the fight continue behind them, weapons fire and shouts echoing through the tunnel. They had gone perhaps 500 meters when they heard footsteps behind them. Bennett pushed Lyria behind, her raising her weapon. Two figures emerged from the darkness. Captain Kira and another Sylvan guard. "Your Highness," Kira called. "We have come to rescue you." Bennett kept her weapon raised. Something in Kira's tone made Lyria suspicious. The captain had always been formal, never emotional. Yet now her voice carried an unusual urgency. Verax growled, his body tensing. Bennett must have sensed it too. "Stay back," she ordered. Dawn broke over the mountains of Montana, casting long shadows across the forest. Princess Lyria stood at the entrance of a small cabin watching the sun rise. Earth sunrises still fascinated her, the colors different from those on Silva she pulled, the human clothing tighter around her body. The air was cold up here, a sensation she was not accustomed to. Behind her, Lieutenant Bennett rested on a makeshift bed, her wound healing slowly but steadily. 3 days had passed since their escape from the bunker. 3 days of constant movement, staying ahead of pursuers, both human and Sylvan. Maya appeared beside her, 2 steaming cups in hand. The human looked tired, dark circles under her eyes, but her movements remained precise, efficient. "We received a coded transmission from Brooks," Maya said softly. "They escaped the bunker through a maintenance shaft. Rodriguez is with her. They should reach us by nightfall." Lyria accepted the cup, inhaling the aroma of the bitter earth drink called coffee. She had grown to appreciate it during their journey. "Any word from your command?" she asked. Maya shook her head. "Communications are compromised. We can't trust official channels. I have a few contacts still loyal to Earth, not to whatever faction has infiltrated the military, but reaching them is difficult." Verax emerged from the forest where he had been hunting, his size currently that of a large Earth predator called a mountain lion. His scales reflected the sunrise colors as he approached. The dragon had grown protective of their small group, especially of Bennett, whose bravery had impressed him. He found something, Maya asked. Noticing the intensity in the dragon's movements, Lyria connected with Verax through their bond, feeling his urgency. He circled. The cabin once then projected images to her mind. Aircraft distant but approaching human design. Maya understood immediately from Lyria's expression. "We need to move," she said. "I know another location, 2 hours north. Deeper in the wilderness." Bennett stirred on her bed, hearing their voices. "They'll slow you down," she said, attempting to sit up. "No one gets left behind," Maya stated firmly, helping her fellow soldier stand. They packed quickly, taking only essentials. Lyria had learned to travel light during their days on the run, a strange experience for royalty accustomed to servants and luxury. She found herself admiring the human capacity for adaptation. They moved through the forest, following game trails. Verax scouted ahead while Maya supported. Bennett Lyria walked behind them, carrying their remaining supplies. Her physical strength, enhanced by Sylvan biology, made the burden easy. By midday, they reached a series of rocky outcroppings. Verax indicated a small cave nearly invisible behind a stand of pine trees. Maya nodded with approval. "This location isn't in any database," she explained as they entered the natural shelter. "It belonged to my grandfather. a place to hunt and fish. No electricity, no records. Perfect for disappearing. The cave extended deeper than it first appeared, widening into a larger chamber. Someone had expanded it long ago, adding rudimentary furniture carved from wood. A stone fire pit occupied the center, with a narrow vent above to release smoke. Bennett eased onto a wooden bench, her face pale from exertion. Maya checked her wound, applying fresh bandages from their dwindling medical supplies. Lyria arranged their provisions, then joined them. The cave reminded her of ancient sylvan dwellings from before, their technological advancement, a time when her people had been closer to nature, to the primal forces that shaped their evolution. "We need to discuss what we know," Maya said once Bennett was comfortable. "Brooks discovered something before we were. Attacked information about a corporation called Nexus Dynamics. They specialize in genetic research, founded 30 Earth years ago by a scientist named Elaine Harper. The name triggered something in Lyria's memory. Harper, she said slowly. There was a human scientist. That name appears in our historical records. A female who was captured during early Sylvan reconnaissance of Earth. Maya looked up sharply. Captured. When approximately 50 of your Earth years ago, Lyria admitted such practices were discontinued after the ethical reforms, but before that, the shame of her people's past actions weighed heavily on her. Some humans were taken for study. That's impossible, Maya said. Harper would have been too young, unless Bennett spoke from her resting place. Unless she wasn't truly captured but was the result of those studies, a hybrid. Perhaps even the first silence filled the cave as they considered the implications. Verax suddenly grew agitated, pacing the confined space. His scales shifting, colors rapidly. "What's wrong with him?" Maya asked. Lyria placed a hand on her companion, trying to calm him. "There is something he wants to show us. Something important." The princess closed her eyes, deepening the bond with her dragon companion. Ancient knowledge flowed between them, knowledge Verax had been hesitant to share until now. "The true nature of the dragons, Maya," she said, opening her eyes. "They are not pets or companions. Not truly, they are weapons. Biological weapons created by ancient Sylvans." Maya listened intently as Lyria continued. "The dragons are not separate beings but extensions of ourselves. They can merge completely with their bonded partners. A process hidden from most Sylvans, known only to the royal family. A merger that creates something neither fully dragon nor fully Sylvan. A being of immense power and ancient knowledge." "And you can do this?" Maya asked. Lyria nodded. "Only in times of great need. The merger is dangerous, taxing on both beings. It has not been done in generations." "Why tell us now?" Bennett asked. "Because Lyria said, looking at Maya, Verax believes the hybrids, the ones pursuing us, are using a corrupted version of this merger, a permanent fusion that enslaves both beings. He sensed it in those who attacked us. They were wrong, twisted versions of what the bond should be." Maya processed this information, her tactical mind working through the implications. "These hybrids, they want you, because royal dragons carry the purest genetic code." Lyria confirmed. "The most stable bond, the most power. If they captured me and Verax, they could use our genetic material to perfect their corrupted merging." A sound outside the cave silenced them. Verax grew instantly alert. Maya drew her weapon, moving silently toward the entrance. Footsteps approached two people from the sound. Lyria prepared herself for another fight. Maya signaled for them to remain still as she positioned herself beside the entrance. Her discipline was impressive, her breathing controlled despite the tension. "Rodriguez Brooks," a familiar voice called softly. "It's us." Maya relaxed slightly but kept her weapon ready. "Show yourselves," she called back. Rodriguez appeared, first hands visible. Brooks behind her. Both looked exhausted, dirty from travel. Their arrival should have been a relief, but something in Rodriguez's posture made Lyria uneasy. Verax sensed it too, growing larger, his teeth bared. Brooks stumbled forward. "Maya, we found something. You were right about Nexus Dynamics. They have a facility beneath the lunar surface. That's the source of the transmissions." Rodriguez remained oddly silent, her eyes darting around the cave, taking in details, positions, weaknesses. Maya approached Brooks, helping her into the cave. Rodriguez followed her movements. Mechanical Verax suddenly roared, a warning blast of heat building in his throat. Maya reacted instantly, shoving Brooks aside and spinning toward Rodriguez, but the communications specialist moved with inhuman speed, grabbing Maya by the throat. Her eyes glowed with the same inner light as the merged ones from the bunker. "I was hoping to wait until you slept," she said. Her voice changed, harmonics layered within it. "But the dragon senses too much." Bennett, despite her wound, tried to stand. Lyria moved toward Rodriguez, but the hybrid raised her other hand, revealing a small device. "One step, princess, and this transmits your location to all our units." Lyria froze, but Verax did not. The dragon launched, himself at Rodriguez. His size expanding rapidly, Maya twisted in the hybrid's grip, allowing Verax to strike without endangering her. The impact sent both Maya and Rodriguez tumbling. Outside the cave, Brooks screamed, a sound cut terrifyingly short. Rodriguez recovered unnaturally fast, her movements fluid beyond human capability. She struck Verax with strength that sent the dragon crashing into the cave wall. Maya gasped for breath, scrambling for her weapon. The hybrid moved toward her with deadly purpose. Lyria knew there was only one option. She locked eyes with Maya. "I need you to trust me." Then she reached for Verax, through their bond, initiating what had not been done for generations. The merger heat flooded through her body as Verax responded, their consciousnesses intertwining. Their separate forms began to blur, light emanating from both Maya and Bennett shielded their eyes as energy cascaded through the cave. Rodriguez hesitated, witnessing something no outsider had ever seen. The transformation completed in seconds. Where princess and dragon had been, now stood a single being. Lyria's form remained recognizable but changed. Her skin covered in iridescent scales, her eyes, vertical pupils glowing with inner fire. Wings emerged from her back and her hands ended in talons. Her voice, when she spoke, resonated with dual tones. "You are abomination," the merged Lyria said to Rodriguez. "A corruption of what was meant to be sacred." The hybrid attacked, moving with frightening speed, but Lyria was faster, her reflexes enhanced by dragon physiology. She caught Rodriguez mid-leap, talons piercing the hybrid's shoulder. Rodriguez screamed, but the sound changed, becoming something inhuman. She began to transform as well, her body shifting. Unnaturally beneath her human appearance, something draconic emerged, but twisted, malformed. A failed merger. Maya recovered her weapon and fired, hitting Rodriguez multiple times. The ancient Sylvan communication technology embedded within Verax pulsed with energy as Lyria completed the transmission. The merged princess stood on the observation deck of the human space station, overlooking both Earth and the massive Sylvan fleet in orbit. Her message had been sent simultaneously to all ships in both fleets, creating a momentary pause in the escalating conflict. Maya stood beside her, watching the screens displaying the reactions both human and Sylvan commanders were confused by the sudden broadcast revealing the existence of the hybrids and their manipulation of both species. "You think they believe you?" Maya asked, her voice low. Lyria, who had separated from Verax after their extended merger, touched the human's shoulder. "They are confused, but the evidence is undeniable." She gestured to Brooks, who worked frantically at a nearby console. The technical officer had survived Rodriguez's attack and proved invaluable in accessing the hybrid communications network. Lieutenant Bennett approached her side, bandaged but standing straight. "3 Earth vessels have changed course," she reported. "They're heading toward the lunar coordinates you provided." "And the Sylvans?" Lyria asked. "2 battle cruisers have broken formation," Bennett replied. "Your father's ship remains in position." Lyria felt a complex mixture of emotions at the mention of her father. Was he part of the hybrid conspiracy, or merely a pawn? She still didn't know. General Winters appeared on the main screen, her weathered face grim. "Sergeant Walsh, I received your data packet and the transmission from the princess. This is highly irregular, but the evidence is compelling." Maya saluted. "The hybrid threat is real. General, our intelligence confirms their base is located beneath the lunar surface." We believe they intend to trigger a war between our species to weaken both sides. The general studied them both. If what you've uncovered is true, this represents the greatest threat humanity has faced. I am dispatching a strike team to the coordinates, but I want you there, Sergeant. You know more about this situation than anyone. You mean us, Maya corrected, standing closer to Lyria. The princess and I go together. General Winters frowned but nodded. Very well. A transport. We'll dock with the station in 20 minutes. Be ready. The screen went dark. Lyria turned to Maya. I must contact my people as well. Maya gestured to the communication array. Do what you need to do. Lyria approached the system, Verax beside her in his smaller form. The dragon had been weakened by their extended merger, but his loyalty never wavered. She sent a coded message to the one Sylvan commander she believed might listen, Commander Terrace, an old family friend. Within minutes, a response came. Terrace would meet their team at the lunar coordinates with a small force he too had suspected outside interference in Sylvan politics. The pieces are falling into place, Lyria said as Maya joined her. But something still troubles me. Rodriguez mentioned evolution, as if the hybrids consider themselves the next step for both our species. Maya considered this. They seem to believe merging humans and Sylvans is their destiny. But the process we witnessed was unstable, destructive. A terrible thought occurred to Lyria. What if someone found a way to stabilize it? What if the hybrids discovered how to create perfect mergers? The transport arrived exactly when promised, a small vessel designed for stealth rather than comfort. Inside, they found a team of 6 human soldiers already prepared for combat. Their leader, a grizzled man with a scarred face, introduced himself as Captain Lee General. Winters briefed us. He said, eyeing Verax with open curiosity. We're to follow your lead on this, Sergeant. Maya nodded, introducing Lyria, Bennett, and Brooks. The plan is simple. We locate the hybrid facility, assess their capabilities, and if necessary, neutralize the threat. And if we encounter Sylvan forces. Captain Lee asked. We have an arrangement with Commander Terrace, Lyria explained. He will bring a small team to assist us. Our peoples have been manipulated against each other long enough. The journey to the moon took less than an hour, human propulsion technology improving dramatically in recent years, Lyria observed. They approached the far side where Earth's observation systems had limited coverage. A Sylvan scout ship waited at the coordinates. Commander Terrace, a tall Sylvan with silver-streaked hair and ceremonial armor, stood with 4 warriors. Princess, he bowed deeply. Your father believes you captured or dead. Lyria introduced Maya and the human team, then told Terrace everything. The hybrids, the manipulation, their discovery about the dragon bond. You merged with Verax. Terrace asked, his eyes wide. Such has not been done in 10 generations. We face an enemy that requires desperate measures, Lyria replied. Now we must find their base. Brooks had pinpointed the facility location beneath a small crater. The combined team moved across the lunar surface using personal gravity generators to manage the low gravity. Their approach was careful, systematic. They found the entrance disguised as natural formation. Terrace warriors used Sylvan technology to bypass the security measures. The facility within was vast, far larger than expected. A combination of human and Sylvan design aesthetics merged in disturbing ways. The corridors were empty, eerily silent. Something is wrong, Maya whispered. The scans showed hundreds of life forms, but where are they? They proceeded deeper into the complex, finally reaching a massive chamber that took their breath away. Hundreds of transparent pods lined the walls. Each contained a sleeping figure. Some appeared human, others Sylvan, but all showed signs of draconic mutation. Scales, wings, altered physiology. They are waiting, Brooks said, examining a nearby console. These are hybridized beings in stasis, waiting for activation. Captain Lee studied the pods. These aren't soldiers, they're colonists. They have children here. Maya approached a central platform with control systems. I think this is their command center. Before she could examine it further, a voice echoed through the chamber. Welcome to the future of both our species. A figure emerged. From a side entrance, a human woman in what appeared to be an Earth military uniform. Her silver hair was pulled back in a severe style. Her face would have been beautiful if not for her eyes. They glowed with the now familiar inner light of the merged ones. Admiral Diana Pierce. Maya gasped. I thought you died in the Europa mission. The woman smiled. You mean you were told I died convenient when one needs to disappear? She approached slowly, confidently. I found something out there, Sergeant. Something that changed everything. A crashed Sylvan vessel with a single survivor. A dragon without its bonded partner. Lyria felt Verax tense beside her. Such separation should be impossible. Nothing is impossible when necessity drives innovation. Diana replied as if hearing Lyria's thoughts. I learned much from that dying creature, including the truth about both our species. We were one once. Did you know that the Sylvans are not aliens, but humans who left Earth millennia ago, modified themselves, evolved? This is impossible, Terrace said. Yet Diana continued. They created the dragons as weapons in their civil wars, then bound them as pets to control their power. I found a better way. Perfect symbiosis. True evolution. Her form began to change subtly, scales appearing along her neck, her eyes becoming more reptilian. Maya raised her weapon. Stop this, Diana. The Admiral laughed. Do you really not see the potential, Sergeant Walsh? Of all people, you should understand. Your own DNA carries the markers, the compatibility. You could join us, become more than human. More than Sylvan. Captain Lee signaled his soldiers to spread out surrounding Diana. You planned this war. Diana, Maya accused, you manipulated both sides. Of course, Diana replied. How else? To weaken the old powers so the new might rise. Our children. She gestured to the pods. Will inherit two worlds, cleansed of the old divisions. Lyria stepped forward, studying Diana closely. You speak of evolution, but I see only corruption. The dragon, bond is sacred, a partnership of equals, not this forced merger. Diana smiled sadly, showing pointed teeth. Your kind kept the dragons enslaved. Princess, I freed them. The ancient dragons taught me how. Verax suddenly growled a warning. Lyria felt it. Through their bond, Diana was not alone. Throughout the chamber, pods began to activate, systems humming to life. The hybrid army was awakening. Maya made a decision. Override the activation sequence. She ordered Brooks, get those pods offline. Captain, Lee and his soldiers moved to defensive positions while Terrace and his warriors readied their weapons. Diana raised her hands and began to transform. Her body elongating, wings unfurling. Her merger was complete. Stable unlike Rodriguez. Her dragon. Aspect fully integrated. She was beautiful and terrifying. You cannot stop evolution, she said, her voice resonating with power. Lyria looked at Maya, understanding passing between them. With a nod to Verax, she initiated their merger once again, the way. Familiar heat and energy coursing through her. Diana watched with interest. So the princess remembers the old ways. But one royal dragon cannot stand against hundreds. As Lyria completed her transformation, Maya turned to Brooks. The technical officer handed her a small device. Go disable the main system, she told Brooks. Take Bennett's team and evacuate Commander Terrace. Please escort them. The Sylvan commander hesitated but recognized the strategy. Protect the technician, he ordered his warriors. Diana launched herself at Lyria, their merged forms colliding in a flash of energy. Captain Lee and his soldiers engaged the awakening hybrids, buying time for Brooks to reach the central systems. Lyria fought with all her strength. But Diana was powerful, her merger more practiced, more complete. Centuries of experience guided her movements.